Well, hello, and welcome. This is Wisdom Chats for the Curious. Welcome aboard.
Yes. Hello, hello. I'm Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe. And you are Marion?
I'm Marion LaSalle, and tonight we have a wonderful guest with us, Ann Seltzer. Hi, Ann.
Hi, how you doing? It's good
Fantastic.
good to be here.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Look at that beautiful smile.
Yay.
Well, we are on a live show, and a lot of people have been asking me, what kind of technology are we using? How are we able to do a live show and then turn it into a podcast later? So I'm just going to go over that quickly. We have about 45 minutes, so I don't really have to go that quick. I can explain what we're doing. This new technology is fantastic. It allows up to 6 people to be in the room with us. And that might get a little crowded. I don't know. I might have to lose some weight, but but that's okay. It's called StreamYard, and StreamYard allows for us to go live in many multiple locations. So as many places that will allow you to go live, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter won't, unfortunately. Facebook, YouTube. Um, there's a few others. There's like 30 others.
Oh,
Anyway, I have chosen to start us off with YouTube and Facebook. So we are live right now, and if you're in the audience, we can see what you're saying in the chat. You just chat away, ask us anything you like, and we will be able to see what you're saying, and we'll be able to discuss a little bit about our topic tonight, which happens to be curiosity. Oh, and we do have somebody in the audience now. Her name is Mary Shin. Hi, Mary.
hey, Mary.
Mhm.
She says, so glad to be here.
Good.
That's another thing this software allows us to do. Anybody who does chats with us in the sidebar, we can highlight them. And so if you want to have yours seen, you can chat and we'll bring it up on the screen, if it's appropriate, that is.
Oh,
So I love this software. It has allowed us to do things we've never been able to do before. Um, Going live on YouTube is not anything new, but going live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time using a single software, that's new. So
leave it to Marion. She's the queen of technology.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try this out because I think it is something that I'll be able to use in other modalities. So I am glad that we're getting a chance to test this out with you.
oh,
Wow.
good. Well, that is something that I love to do. Anybody that knows me knows I test the stuff out before, so you don't have to test it out. I can just test it out and bring you only the good stuff. So today we had a class at Office in America, which happens to be my sponsor, Office in America. Thank you very much, Office in America. You gave us a wonderful room to have our class today, and we learned a little bit about how to create products. And Anne happened to be in the audience today. She was one of the students that was learning about creating products. So Anne, tell us a little bit about your experience today.
Well, for one thing, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being with you and the other participants. So I it just is so much fun interacting with y'all. And so that was an informal class. We got to ask a lot of questions. So just the the way you've set it up is just perfect. I really was amazed at all the different things that can be made. I guess I guess we're going to be talking about curiosity in a little bit. Well, it really sparked my curiosity and my interest just seeing all the different options that there were to sell things. And I thought about it not just for me, but for other people that I know, like, oh, my artist friend, she's a little bit afraid of selling her paintings, but she doesn't want to get rid of her paintings. She paints them. She doesn't want to sell them. It's like, well, we could put them on a scarf, and I already had her, I told you she had a model daughter. Her model daughter could model on her over 1 million participant Instagram, she could model those leggings like anything, you know. So I and try to sell them off her Instagram. So I've got all kinds of ideas from it.
Well, that's so interesting. You should mention that because one of the ladies in the class today happens to be here tonight, and she is having a UFO meeting on Sunday. And so we decided to create a necklace for her, and it was really cool. I loved every minute of it. It was so cool to create something right there in the class.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun thing to do.
It really was. So here's Christy. Class says class was great today, but all your classes are great. Oh well, thanks, Christy. It's because
They
I'm
are.
having fun, right?
I wanted to see if she put her UFO symbol on there. No,
No,
she just show us.
that was cool. We made leggings out of her UFO picture that she made a pendant and leggings. Those leggings were cool, and so
Yeah.
was the handbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and here's another lady that was in the class today. It's Karen. Hey, Karen. She said, "Oh, she's got us on her phone today. Still working to get you on the other devices." Okay. So fantastic. Thanks for joining us tonight. So tell us, Louise, a little bit about what's going on for you today.
Well, I've been curious all day long and been doing research on some different things on the internet. You know, Google's our best friend. And I have just had a blast. And right now I'm so full of knowledge, I don't know where to begin. But I'm very much into alternative remedies. And Mary Shin told me about one that she's looking at. And I'm so excited about it because I've just been through heart valve replacement surgery and recently kidney stone removal surgery.
Mm.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, this product will help to reduce the calcium in our systems that's causing these challenges. So I'm just researching like crazy on that product because I'm ready for no drugs. I am not a drug person. So that's where I've been most of the day with my nose in the computer.
Okay, so you're researching how to get off the drugs that the doctors have you on with some more natural products.
Right. And they're out there.
They are out there. So will you be testing them, or are these tested
Oh, they've already been tested and
natural
proven.
products? Okay.
They're natural. So I am so excited. And as soon as I get more information, I'll let everybody know because there may be some more out there that have the same challenges I do.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah, we seniors have challenges, unfortunately.
Some of us, not all of us.
Not all of us.
I know some really healthy 100-year-olds, honest to Pete, healthier than anybody else I know.
That's great. And you take care of yourself. That's the whole point. We have to take care of ourselves. Nobody else is going to do it.
Right, right. So today I was talking with my business partner, Becky Earl, about her curious streaks. So she told me, Mary, you should talk about what she does is really interesting. I wanted to have her on tonight, but she'll join us another time. What she does is she keeps a running tab of the things that catch her attention that she wants to learn more about. When she gets curious about something, either on the radio or on the internet, or somebody says something and she's curious about it, she keeps a running tab and then she goes and digs into it. So I thought that was really a good idea because I know that curiosity keeps us not only entertained, but on top of our game. And I don't really like to read a whole lot on the air, but I found this really great article. I did put it in the chat. So if you all want to see it, you can go back up and you see that I put the link in. It's it's a science-based insight for meaningful life from the Greater Good magazine. And it's from the UC Berkeley. So they have a Greater Good Science Center, and they write articles and they do a lot of interesting things about what keeps us healthy. So they came up with an article about the benefits of curiosity. And I'm telling you, when you're paying attention, you see and hear it all over the place. So Ann and I both go to Unity, and we were listening to our minister talk about the great things.
At two different services too. I brought it up to you guys like, oh, I need to think about Miriam there and let her know about it. And you heard it too.
Yeah. Ann went to the 9 o'clock, I went to the 11, and apparently it's the same service, and he was talking about curiosity. So let me just, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the titles of the 6 things that they found that are really good about curiosity. Curiosity helps us survive. The urge to explore and seek novelty. And I think it does help us. If we weren't curious, we might just lay in bed all day, right? We're not even curious about what the day is going to be.
I lay in bed and I get curious. I just go on my phone and I can lay in bed all day and look up stuff. So unfortunately, laying in bed is kind of bad for me when it comes to my phone. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's great because I do the same thing. Now, Louise doesn't have a cell phone. She has to actually get up out of bed and go to her computer, but I know she's done it before.
I have.
She's gotten curious. Curious people are happier people. Research has shown curiosity to be associated with higher levels of positive emotions, lower levels of anxiety. Wow, I know a lot of anxious people. Maybe I should teach them some curiosity tips, right? More satisfaction with life and greater psychological well-being. Okay, if that's not enough to make you be more curious, I don't know what is. Curiosity boosts achievement.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're curious about something, you're going to go and learn about it, and then you're going to have more knowledge, which does make you a higher achiever, right? I love that. Curiosity can expand our empathy. Now, isn't that an interesting one?
I had never thought of that.
When we are curious about others and talk to people outside our usual social cycle, we become better able to understand those with lives, experiences, and worldviews that are different than ours. And we were talking about that today at lunch. How many people do we know that have different views than we do? Politically, spiritually, there's just so many. If you don't take the hard stance and actually look at what the other person's saying and come together and be curious about each other,
right,
I think that would really help calm.
I think that is the really important. I told you my background for a long time was in HR, and you just really have to be curious about the other person's perspective. It's like kind of like being a detective. For instance, if there's a problem, an issue, and okay, the supervisor says one thing, and then this other person says another one, but it's like, okay, I have to be really curious, like a detective, to go find out what this person thinks. You can't just take this word and that word. You have like, there's something missing there. And so that takes a lot of curiosity about where are people coming from and what's the context, what's their worldview. So yeah, it's definitely important in management, for instance.
Oh yes, you have to be able to understand your
and care. It's not, you say I'm curious, but it's like I have to care. Well, what is it? Why do we even said that about something? Well, why does that person think that? We said it at lunch today. Why do they think that way? And I am curious about how and looking into why a person thinks so strangely about something. They have a reason. Everybody has a reason. We just don't know what it is. But you got to be kind of curious to get to the root of it.
You're right. You're right. And we did talk about how people become brainwashed if they're watching certain news shows and
not to be mentioned what, but yeah.
No, not mentioning any of those, but just talking about what we think. We're curious about how they came up with that.
Right.
That idea that they're.
Even like I was watching. I probably shouldn't, I was watching this serial killer, that show about serial killers. It's like, and they go into the psychological and they interview them. And it's like, you just really want to know how they got to this point and why they feel that way. There's a reason for them being the way they are. People that are shooting up people. Why is that? I mean, just being really curious. And I think it's going to be almost the root of finding out, the cause of things. but most people just say, oh, they're crazy, which, I mean, I'm not saying they're not, but but why? What happened that got them into that situation? And I think that maybe the answer is curiosity to getting to the root cause of what's going on in our society, actually.
Yeah, Dr. Oz has a show on television. It's a national television show, very popular. And he used to be just talking about health, and now he's bringing in experts that are talking about serial killers and crime, unsolved crimes and things like that, because he's very curious about what's going on in their brain.
In the head, yeah.
And how we can capture these people and how we can help them instead of just putting them in a jail cell. How do we help these people? He's very curious. And I find it so fascinating. It's his show. He can do anything he wants with it. At first, it was kind of a shock. I thought, Dr. Oz is talking about serial killers? I mean, I didn't understand, but then I thought, oh, okay.
But a lot of people are interested in that too, so I'm sure it raises his ratings. But yeah, I just, for instance, I'm close to Nassau Bay, where that police officer just got run over by this kid. You know what I'm talking about? The police officer got run over by some kid. She was putting handcuffs on him, and he jumped into the car, got away from her, pushed her down, and then he ran over and killed her. And yeah, it just happened like a couple weeks ago. And of course everybody's like looking. Then there was a big manhunt for this kid. He's like 21, I'd say. And his mother, he was actually hiding out at his mother's house, but she said she hadn't seen him. And she even had a big interview about how she'd never seen him and she didn't know what was going on with what ends up that she was lying. So all these people, and she went to jail. They finally caught him. He went to jail. This lady, the police officer with kids, was killed. And it's like, and everybody was really mad at the kid. I mean, I don't think he should have been whatever he was doing. I'm not saying that was right, but he didn't mean to run over her. He didn't even know he ran over her until later. And then he was on the run. And so not only the police officer was killed, his life is ruined forever. He'll go to jail because he killed a police officer. His mother, she was trying to protect him and lied out the kazoo. I think her boyfriend was involved in it. So all these people were involved in this situation. It's just not a simple, he lived in Sunnyside, which is just a terrible place to grow up. It's just, the context and the worldview and how did we get to this? What's the story behind this one little situation? It's just something that everything is like that. Everything is so complex. And, how do you get to the root cause of it?
How do you get to the root cause of it?
I'm curious.
And how do you prevent it?
I want to know. We're curious minds want to know, right?
And then how do you prevent it from happening again? And we have a lot of differing opinions about gun control and drinking and driving. There's all these different things that are going on that perhaps cause people to act unusual and do harm.
I think he was mentally ill. That's what his mother said. This is what she said. Now, she lied about other things, but she said that he was supposed to go in a psychiatric hospital that morning, but he didn't want to go. So they said, okay, we'll try to medicate him. And so then they didn't put him in the hospital, and this happened. And he didn't have a gun, but there's videos of him with guns. But she said he was just, he was showing off. He was a rapper or something, a kid. He was a kid. I don't know. It was just the whole thing is such a tragedy, and why we got to that is just mind-blowing. Just one little incident right here in my neighborhood, essentially.
Right. Now, you live close to the water.
Right.
So this is a weird story, and it's kind of off base, but it came to my mind. I'm curious about how this process went down. So remember Hurricane Harvey? Who could forget it, right?
Right.
Hurricane Harvey. I have a friend who lives in Seabrook, and his daughter, their daughter, was very worried that they were going to get into the flood. So she paid for a hotel stay at Omni, thinking that they would be safe there. Mm-hmm. So the hurricane came, and the place got flooded. The bottom floor was completely wiped out, so they had to rescue them, put them all in a boat. They were on the 11th floor. They had to put them all in a boat
Wow.
and get them to the other Omni, which was out west. Well, then they unleashed the levee and they flooded again, and that hotel also flooded. So into the boats again and off to safety somewhere else. It took them almost a week to get home. And when they got home, they hadn't flooded.
Flooded. I know. I know. Well, that's what happens.
Oh, so sad too. Oh, well.
So Karen says, I used to read Ellery Queen and Hitchcock magazines back in the day. Now we can talk these stories, live and read about it too.
We can. We don't have to read fiction, do we?
No, we don't. No. Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
So anyway, you had said something about the Michael Gott, and to me, the word curiosity, it's a good word, and I didn't really ever think about it that much, I will say, and so way he put it in context at church, in the Unity Church, was that it was a sign of inspiration, and I just really love that, because I believe that we should, because I am retired, and I'm trying to do things, but I'm trying to do things a little bit differently now, where I'm going by my inspiration, like to follow things where I don't know quite where they're going to go and all that kind of stuff. It's an experiment, not always working out great, but the way I've been doing it, I have to do a little caveat in the background. I do adhere to Abraham Hicks, and the law of attraction and the things that she says. So Abraham would always say, follow your inspiration, follow that feeling. So when you have a feeling of joy, follow that. You look for the feeling and follow that. So, if you're looking for what's making you curious, it's like, oh, okay, that's my inspiration. That's like going along the right path to follow your curiosity. And this is a small thing, but that morning before church, I was laying in bed, drinking my coffee. I told you I get up and get my mom's paper. I get her something going, then I go back to bed with my coffee, and I listen to Abraham, or mess around on my phone, look up things. And for some reason, I spent like an hour looking up stuff on Bitcoin and looking about the history of economics, from barter system to gold standard to the fiat system to now going perhaps into Bitcoin. I just saw it as a way of like, just a way that we're going around the banks and and going around the government, as maybe something where the young people are looking at a different way, where they don't even have to be bothered with banks and the government. They can just exchange in a different way. Anyway, that's why I was interested in the philosophy. And I was like, well, I wonder, and then I thought, I spent like an hour before church, and I went to early church looking about things on Bitcoin. And so then when he talked about curiosity, I thought, well, maybe it's an inspiration, really. It wasn't just wasting my time and, and being curious about it. With curiosity, why was I curious about it? Does that mean I should look into Bitcoin and try to understand it better? And maybe it is the future. So that was my little woo-woo thing. Just when he said that, I thought, oh, well, I was really curious about Bitcoin this morning for some reason. So,
well, that's interesting you should say that, because Louise got me into Bitcoin. And so, like you said,
oh, you are?
She did. She got me into Bitcoin, and I still don't even know what it is, but I have some.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to help me with that, because I think I was inspired by looking into all that, into Bitcoin. I don't understand it either, but is that the future? But it's also very risky from what I read. But,
Well, I like where you're going with that, about how to go around the old system.
Right.
And we do have a very old system, and it's broken and it doesn't work that great. And
well, the bank can hold on to your money. My mother, so my mother's 93, and she hoards money. I mean, well, she won't put it in the bank because her mother didn't put it in the bank. The depression, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know, that's, old news. Why, I don't like that she doesn't put money in the bank. So then I think about it though, I don't really think I trust the banks right now either. So I don't know that I'd adhere to a conspiracy theory or anything, but I'm not really trusting of what's going on with my money either. So maybe, and the government and everybody being so much in control of it. So maybe this is an answer. It's not because of the depression, but it's because of a mistrust of our institutions that I've grown more on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Louise, what was the curiosity behind the Bitcoin for you?
Well, it seemed like it was a way to make more money. Okay, I'm up for that. So I kind of dived in without knowing what in the heck I was doing, and I still don't know. So I
But did
don't
you make money?
know. And I bought this Bitcoin. It's sitting there in the wallet, waiting for me to do something with it. And I don't even know what it's worth anymore.
Well,
It's
I looked at something and it's low right now. That was another thing. I was looking at how it was going down. So it's low right now. So does that mean should buy low? Like you would with a stock?
yeah, yeah. No, I have
I
no.
think you could find people that could teach you about it. I certainly don't have enough curiosity right now to
Me.
say I'll go learn it and teach you, but I think we could find other people if anybody's interested. We could probably find somebody.
Well, I think it's one of those things that, you do have to do it on faith and kind of the philosophy rather than, I think it was more of a philosophical thing that I liked that, okay, I can take control of my life and not have my bank and and my government or whatever fooling around with stuff that's mine. That's why I liked it philosophically. I invest in real estate for that reason. I took all my money out of my 401k. Now, whether that was smart or not, then I'm single, so I could do what I want. But, and everybody else around me said that was stupid and they didn't like it. But I like, well, I'm doing it. So I pulled all my money out of my 401ks and put them into real estate. Because I just felt like, I don't like the stock market because it just seems like smoke and mirrors. So I followed this thing with the real estate. I just did it because I just leapt into it. It's like my little experiment, and I think it was a good decision on my part. So maybe I should do that with Bitcoins. Just go into it and a smart decision. I mean, I looked into it. I had people who knew what they were doing, and I had mentors on the real estate. So something like that, maybe with the Bitcoins. So again, that's an inspiration, maybe. Or sometimes I've been inspired in things and they turned out really bad. So I'm not saying I'm psychic or anything. I mean, we're all psychic, but sometimes I think something was told to me and then it turned out really bad. So
Yeah, a little more psycho than psychic, huh? Hey, Louise, we have a comment from Karen. She says she loves seeing your cat.
Oh,
Animals sense peace and joy too. They are curious big time. Maybe
right,
they all have nine lives.
curiosity, right, with a
I'm
cat.
not typing. He thinks it's okay to come up on the keyboard and then lay on my chest.
That's what all cats. That's a cat, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a good boy.
He is. His name is Blackie, and he is a good boy. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, we have two more on this article. The one we just finished was empathy. The next one, curiosity helps strengthen relationships. One study asked strangers to pose and answer personal questions, a process scientists call reciprocal self-disclosure. They found that people were rated as warmer or more attractive if they showed real curiosity in the exchange.
Sure.
I like
Listening.
Yes, yes. So I have a
And you're right. And you have to be really curious to listen. I mean, you can't just go, and then, not really listen. You have to be really curious to listen right.
Yeah, true.
yeah. And people know if you're paying attention or not. If you're, looking around and you're not really paying attention, you can't wait for them to shut up so you can say something. That comes across.
It does.
Yeah. So Becky, my friend, she told me that she wanted me to think about active listening. So if you are listening and your facial expression is
Mhm.
you know. But if your facial expression is,
Yeah.
Alert.
curious, and you're nodding your head and you're smiling, and people just naturally feel more open and more comfortable with you. So it's it's called active listening.
Another thing, as in a little aside to that, as we get older, our faces come down, and people think we're like really grumpy when we're not. So we have to be a little more active with the lifting and smiling, than we even feel a little bit, because naturally we're looking kind of grumpy. So yeah. That's that jowl thing. So anyway, but now I do know that a man that was a manager, he said that people were reacting to him, and like he was being judgmental of them, and he goes, "I'm not," and then he realized it was his face. They go, "Oh, there you are, you're doing it again," and he said that was his face. It was just his resting face was like that. So he had to react to them a little bit more animated than he normally would, so they didn't know that he was that he was listening and that he was happy to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It takes fewer muscles to smile than it does to frown, they tell me.
Yeah, but I think that I just think as we get older, I mean, it's we're wrinkling, we're going down, and we're grumpy. We look like grumpy old people, but it's it's natural. We're not any more grumpy
Great.
Right.
usually.
We have a friend, his name is Red O'Laughlin, and he researches health and wellness at the biomolecular level. He really he digs into serious diseases like diabetes and cancer and things like that. And he comes up with all kinds of things. And one of the things he told me was, if you're ever in a bad mood, and you put a smile on your face, it just makes you feel better. It increases your energy. He says that if you can't figure out a way to get a smile on your face, stick a pencil in there.
That'll make you laugh.
You gotta smile.
That's pretty funny.
But then if you decide to be frowning, you might chomp on that pencil and it'll break. I don't think I've ever chewed up a pencil, though.
No, but it really does work. Try it sometime. If you're not feeling that great, just stick a pencil in there and
it'll start laughing.
It makes you smile. You can't help it.
And a lot of people keep a mirror near their phone, especially if they do a lot of phoning, and they just keep a mirror and they have to look at themselves, and they can tell what their expression is at that point, and then they can put that smile back into their voice.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Smile, but they can hear it. And like video, we're sitting here on video, and if I'm sitting here like this, I'm not happy, I'm bored. I don't want to be bored. I'm on television here. I want to be happy. This is who I am. I'm not a grumpy old lady.
Yeah, right. Me neither. I was like having to do some videos for and they were just being recorded. I was in my pajamas just recording. It was a voiceover on something, so it wasn't like they were looking at me, but I was enjoying myself so much, and I was just talking and joking, but I had a little stuffed animal that I put in front of me to talk to that stuffed animal, and just like, no, what do you think of that? And I was like really talking to that stuffed animal, or my dog would come up and I'd be talking, so it would make it more natural, I guess.
It does make a difference versus just reading or reciting or doing it by rote. People can tell you when you're reading. It doesn't have any inflection.
Right.
I
thought my jokes were great. I laughed at my own jokes.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. The last one is curiosity improves healthcare. Research suggests that when doctors are genuinely curious about their patients' perspectives, both the doctors and the patients report less anger and frustration and make better decisions, ultimately increasing the effectiveness of the treatment. So what do you think of that? Louise has had some experience with doctors here lately and their staff. What do you think, Louise?
I think they need a lot more smiles. And they need to answer their phones, number one, or at least call back in a timely manner. this today I was calling about a bill that I'd gotten that I didn't think was right. So I called the billing department of the hospital, and she actually answered the phone. But she was very bland, very dry. I don't think she likes her job. And you can tell that too by their voice.
Do you think though that, some of the problems that we have, I think it may be especially with women, well, not just with women, but if the doctor won't listen to you, they don't take you seriously, you have to take control of your own health. I think that's what I heard you say, Louise, before was that, we really have to take control of our own health.
Yes, yes.
I
We
had, I had for a long time, I was having problems and I thought it was my back. And I went to the same doctor I'd been going to a long time. And he, I wanted him to do a x-ray of my back. And he said, no, you're fine. You're fine. You just need to do more yoga. So, I mean, I literally couldn't walk like 10 feet. I was in bad shape, and somebody
Oh,
said, oh, you're so brave. I'm like, why? They go, well, with your disability. I'm like, I go, well, my doctor says there's nothing wrong. And they go, oh, well, something's wrong. So I decided to take the bull by the horns. I said, I got to take care of this. And I went to my chiropractor and I said, would you please do an x-ray? And they did an x-ray of my back. My back was fine, but they found that I was bone on bone with my hip, my right hip. And I had to have a hip replacement. I'd been going for all this years, and just like I said, I couldn't walk. I was, I was in bad shape, and my doctor wouldn't listen. So from that point on, I realized I have to take control. I'm not going to let somebody say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, just do yoga,
It's
when
all in your head.
I couldn't walk.
a
Yeah.
good thing for a lot of us to remember.
Yeah.
Change your doctor every few years. They get used to you, just like you get used to your house. You don't see the dirt, but it's still there. You just
Yeah.
up, so you've gotten used to it. They've gotten used to us, so they don't hear us when we have a legitimate complaint. Because I had a eye doctor one time when I was trying to tell him how it worked after he took the cataract off. He said, "All you do is complain." I mean, that's what he said in that tone. I'm not complaining. I'm
Yeah.
telling you how my eyes reacted to the surgery. I never went back to that man.
No, really.
Something's wrong
Why
with
do you think you went to him? Just to, because you just like to talk to him and keep him upbeat and motivated?
I
No.
think he had a personal challenge in his life, and he was taking it out on his patients. I
That's
should have
terrible.
reported him to the medical association, but it wasn't worth my time. I
Yeah.
just walked away from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Just change doctors. They see through new eyes.
Right.
Okay?
But be sure to take control of your own health. I think
Exactly.
that's the message there, that if your doctor doesn't listen to you, is not curious to find out more, because there's so many people that have been misdiagnosed and they said, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, because the doctor just dismissed them.
Exactly. It's the old saying, next.
Next.
Move on.
Yeah. Next. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
On.
Anne, we haven't really learned much about you with the remaining minutes that we have. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about what you're doing and what you got plans for the future?
Okay, so I actually have, realistically, I have two companies. One is I have people decorate concrete. So what I'm doing with that company, I've had it for about a year and have not been successful. Let's just say that I'm losing money. So I'm realizing I need to market in a different way. So I'm learning all about marketing, and I rebranded, and I'm doing more visioning, and just like, what do I want my company to look like? So that's kind of my experiment there. I would have been much better if I used the money that I put in this company into real estate, but for some reason I decided, oh, I'm going to try this, and it really hasn't worked out very well financially, and I don't talk about it to my friends, how bad it is, but all my friends think I shouldn't have done it. It was a stupid thing to do and all that, but I'm determined to really try to figure this out, because there's no reason why I can't make this work. It's a great it's a great company. You know, it's a
You
great.
know, I've been learning more about it as I've gotten to know you, and I find it fascinating. I actually got curious enough to go out on the internet, look at your website, look at the pictures that people show on on
Mhm.
YouTube, and it is fascinating. So you
Yeah.
don't actually lay the concrete, you
Totally.
decorate the top of it. So that
Right.
could be a path from, say, your driveway to the house,
Right.
or around the pool, or on the driveway
Right.
itself. Any
Well, you
place that has
do
concrete.
normally you do put a thin layer of it's like an um, acrylic and concrete mixture, so it's really heavy. Not heavy. It's real thin, but it's very durable. And then you decorate it however the person wants it to be decorated, you know, to match your house or whatever, you know, and there's all kinds of patterns and you can make it like, so it's a really a great thing. And the more I've gotten into it, the more I do love it too. And it's a real yin and yang thing because the concrete part, the laying of the concrete is a technical, and it is kind of like construction. You got to mix up the concrete and you got to put it out, and sometimes you got to get on your hands and knees. I don't do that. I tried it a little bit in the summer and I about killed myself. So they get on their hands and knees and actually do the troweling. And then there's the art part on top, and I do like. Sometimes I will do that. I like to do the art part on top, doing the colors. So that's the more the feminine. So you might talk with a woman, and she wants to how it looks, and that's why I got into it because it was so pretty. But the guys want to know how durable it is, and with the tensile strength. And I mean, it's not just guys care, but in general, you know, they're wanting to get the concrete looking right and have the concrete be durable, and the woman wants it to look nice. So it's both of them together, and so you have to talk to both of, you know, it's a, like I said, it's a yin yang process. I really think it's a cool process. It's just I would like to start making money. I am kind of a little bit got some urgency there on that. And then for the other job, the other um, thing I have is I've had for 20 years. Essentially, it's a company called Dialoguing for Success because I've always liked the idea of dialoguing. My background is HR, and I was going to, you know, I have an organizational development background, and I love facilitation. And so, what I'd like to do now is kind of help do masterminds, maybe be the what I just took a class in being a knowledge broker, and there's a lot to that. But running these types of masterminds for people who maybe have a issue they want to talk about, or they have a training they want to put out, but I could do the infrastructure under it, and they could be the person that's conducting the training, and I would be the one who's helping set it up and market it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with that too, simultaneously. So it does seem like I'm all over the place to everybody, like I'm not a focused person, but I am using the marketing on both ways. So I'm I'm mostly learning about marketing right now, and I'm going to use it on both things. So it's not like I'm completely scattered.
It doesn't sound scattered to me at all. I
Well,
think you're
thank
just
you.
curious, and you want to make money with things that are interesting to you instead of.
Yeah, and then I'm good at. I am a very supportive person. I want people to be successful. I think that might be my superpower is that I do care about people being successful. I was a professor right before I retired, and I do miss my students. I miss the mentoring of my students and seeing them grow. So I miss that. But I also have to be realistic as I've gotten older. I have to be able to. I want to do it online. I love in person, and that's why I like trying this type of thing. I love in person, of course, but I can't be traveling all over the place. And at night, I was teaching at night. I was just dead tired, So I need to have it where I can do more online. That's more sustainable for me.
I understand that, and you're taking care of your mother as well.
Oh
So
yeah, that.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's about time for us to say goodnight. It was a wonderful time. Thank you for joining us, Anne. It was wonderful.
Oh, thank
Louise, of
you.
course, you look absolutely delightful tonight.
Oh, I can't see you because, but that's a
Oh,
technology thing. But thank you.
yeah, yes. Louise had surgery a little over a week ago,
Oh,
and so for her to be looking like she is tonight is just a thrill for me. So
Thank
thanks,
oh.
thanks, ladies, for coming on and joining us. And any last words, Lady Lou?
Thank you for being here. Share our show with others. We're on Natural Curiosity, the website, and on the Facebook page to find us, and then Patreon, Marion's Patreon. You can find it. Tell us your Patreon address, Marion.
Okay. So if you want to go to support us or join our community, you can go to patreon.com/natural curiosity.
Yeah.
And we're here on YouTube and Facebook every day with a show called Daily Reset for Success. And every Tuesday night at 7, we have this show, which is Wisdom Chats. I'm curious. Talk about got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And then at 8 o'clock, you have another thing.
Oh yeah, we have a mastermind. If you're ever into business masterminding, we would love to have you come and check it out. We've been going for a couple of years, and we love it. We love it. We delve into all kinds of cool things. So, one of the things we've never done, Anne, is marketing. And I would really, I'd maybe like to talk to you about that. Maybe doing something together on that. All right. Well, once again, thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next Tuesday night and every day for the daily reset for success.
And
Good night for now.
find it on Facebook and YouTube.
That's right, Facebook and YouTube.
It's great being here and enjoying. I really enjoyed the conversation. Hope it went the way you wanted, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had fun. I don't know if our viewers did, but I did.
I did too. Thank you for being with us. And if you want to be on our show, contact us, because we've got room for you, and we'd love to talk with you too.
Good night now.
Good night. Love you all.